Welcome to Life in Real Time with Lucia, the podcast where we capture the essence of raw, unfiltered conversations and where we will dive deep into the journey of life. No topic is off limits here, and things can get real, really real. This is your space for open, honest, and sometimes messy discussions about everything that life throws our way. The good, the bad, and the downright chaotic. Some episodes will be unscripted, where anything can happen, and others will be carefully crafted to explore thought-provoking themes. A fair warning, though, that this is rated adult, and yes, that means that the language might get a little colorful at times, but hey, that's life in real time, right? So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and join me on this unpredictable adventure through life's ups and downs, and everything in between. Let's keep it raw, keep it real, and above all, let's keep it honest. I'm Lucia, and this is Life in Real Time. Hello, everyone, and thanks so much again for joining me. I am your host, Lucia, and today we are going to be talking about how not everything needs a reaction. But before we start, I just want to say that this podcast isn't advice, and it's not instruction. It's really just a conversation. Some things I've noticed, some things I've learned, and some thoughts I'm still sitting with myself. So take what resonates and just leave behind what doesn't. So this episode came to me quietly, not in a what should I talk about next kind of way, but more in a noticing kind of way. The kind of noticing that happens when life slows down just enough for you to hear yourself think. I started realizing that things that used to get a reaction out of me just don't anymore. And at first, I did not know how to feel about that, because when some things change in us, especially quietly, it could feel confusing before it feels empowering. I actually asked myself that. Am I growing or am I just tired? And the honest answer is probably both, because there was a time when I felt like I had to react to everything. React to every comment, every misunderstanding, every moment that felt uncomfortable or unfair. Heck, I even had nights where I wouldn't sleep. Not because I wanted conflict, but because reacting to me felt like I was protecting myself. Like if I stayed alert, stayed engaged, stayed responsive, I was keeping myself safe. And I think a lot of us learned early on that reacting meant we mattered. If we explained fast enough, if we defended ourselves well enough, if we spoke up loudly enough, maybe we wouldn't be misunderstood. Maybe we wouldn't be dismissed. Or maybe we wouldn't be hurt. And for some of us, reacting was survival. So if you're someone who reacts quickly or feels things deeply, there's nothing wrong with you. That was a skill at one point, but skills do evolve. What I didn't realize at first is that a skill that once protected us can eventually drain us. Reacting all the time keeps the nervous system on high alert. It keeps us bracing, always ready and always anticipating. And eventually it catches up to us and the body will say, enough. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Lately, I've noticed something different happening. There are moments where I feel that familiar pull to react, to say something, to correct something, to engage. And then I just pause. And in that pause, there's clarity. Not anger, not resentment, not avoidance. Just a quiet, this doesn't need my energy. And that clarity feels calm. It feels steady. It feels like choice. Now, what's the difference between a reaction versus a response? A reaction feels urgent, like you have to speak up this moment, right now. A response feels steady. It feels like, well, I can come back to this later, or maybe I won't. And sometimes the most honest response is silence. And that used to scare me, but now it's totally different. It makes me feel grounded. Because silence isn't empty, it's intentional. And the one thing that I've learned is to listen to my body before I react. If I feel that my chest is tightening up, or if my shoulders are feeling tense, or if my breath gets shallow, that's usually not a sign to engage. That is my body saying, okay, it's time for a pause. Regulation comes before resolution. And when we regulate first, we make better choices. But sometimes silence does get misunderstood. We may think, or others may think, that silence is a weakness, but it's not. When you're silent, people assume that you're just avoiding the situation, you're weak, or that you just don't care. But sometimes silence is self-respect. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's knowing that explaining or reacting won't actually change anything. And choosing peace over performance is not giving up. It's growing up. It took me a very, very, very long time to learn that you don't owe every moment a response. We don't owe every situation our emotional energy. We don't owe every person a reaction. We don't owe every trigger our attention. Engagement is a choice, and choosing where we engage is part of emotional maturity. And emotional maturity is quiet. Sometimes reacting keeps us looping. We go around and around in circles. We talk about the same things, explain the same things, and we go through the same emotional exhaustion. And afterwards, we're left feeling drained. We're left feeling heavy and tight in the body. And that's usually a sign that the reaction wasn't needed. Not because we were wrong, but because the situation wasn't receptive. If you're able to, just take a moment with me. And I'm going to ask you this. Where do you feel pressure to respond right away? Where does reacting leave you feeling depleted? What might change if you gave yourself permission to pause? Now, why am I talking about this now? Well, we are at the end of the year, aren't we? The end of the year naturally brings reflection. Things start to slow down, energies shift, we start reviewing not just what happened, but how it affected us. And when we're honest, many of us are tired, not just physically, but emotionally. We're tired of reacting, we're tired of explaining, we're tired of carrying things that were never ours to hold. This time of year invites us to ask, what am I taking with me and what am I leaving behind? And for me, and maybe for you, one of those things is unnecessary reaction. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to share something. If this conversation about pausing, not reacting, and choosing where your energy goes resonated with you, it connects really close to the episode just before this one. In that episode, titled What We Are No Longer Explaining, I talked about the quiet shifts that happen as we grow. The moments when we realize we don't need to justify ourselves, our boundaries, or our healing the way we once did. Not explaining and not reacting, they come from the same place. They come from a place of clarity. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I invite you to go back and spend some time with it. Together, these conversations really reflect this season of growth. Just remember that not everything needs a reaction. Some things need time, some things need distance, and some things simply need to pass. I thank you so much for sitting with me today, and until then, thank you.